Why did you ace your last exam? Was it your raw intelligence, your dedicated preparation, or just good luck? Your answer to this question reveals far more about you than you might think. Imagine two students, both scoring an A+ on their calculus final. The first student thinks, "I'm just naturally good at math." The second reflects, "Those extra study sessions really paid off." Same grade, completely different stories about why it happened. These explanations shape not just how they feel about this success, but how they'll approach every challenge that follows. A groundbreaking series of studies in the 1950s by psychologist Fritz Heider revealed something profound about human nature. We're all constantly crafting these explanations, these attributions, for everything that happens around us. Whether it's a job promotion, a failed relationship, or even why the barista got our coffee order wrong, our minds automatically search for causes. This seemingly simple observation launched an entire field of study, Attribution Theory, that would revolutionize our understanding of human behavior. It turns out that these split-second explanations we generate aren't just idle thoughts. They're powerful mental models that shape our motivation, influence our relationships, and even predict our future success. Today, we're going to push this theory to its absolute limits. We'll explore how attribution patterns differ dramatically across cultures, how they shape everything from sports performance to corporate leadership, and why they might be both our greatest psychological strength and our most dangerous blind spot. What's particularly intriguing is how these attribution patterns have evolved in the digital age. Research published in the Journal of Psychology shows that our increasingly interconnected world has created entirely new attribution challenges. For instance, when 87% of business leaders plan to increase their AI investments, according to Gartner's 2023 report, how do we attribute success or failure in human-AI collaborations? Think of this as a stress test for one of psychology's most influential theories. We'll examine where it holds strong, where it breaks down, and most importantly, how understanding our attribution patterns can help us make better decisions in an increasingly complex world. The stakes are higher than you might think. Studies show that your attribution style doesn't just affect your mental health. It can predict everything from your career trajectory to your resilience in facing adversity. And in a world where adaptability and resilience are more crucial than ever, understanding how we explain our successes and failures isn't just interesting, it's essential. Let's start with a simple scenario that plays out in offices worldwide every day. A team member misses an important deadline. If you're like most people in Western cultures, your first thought might be something like, they're disorganized, or they lack commitment. This is what psychologists call an internal attribution. We explain someone's behavior through their personal characteristics. But what if that same person had been caring for a sick family member or dealing with a system crash? This would be an external attribution, explaining behavior through situational factors. Research consistently shows that humans, particularly in Western cultures, have a stubborn tendency to favor internal attributions when explaining others' behavior, especially their failures. This is the fundamental attribution error, and it's so pervasive that it shows up even when we know better. Consider this fascinating study from Morris and Peng, 1994. When American and Chinese students were shown animated scenarios of a single fish swimming in front of a group of fish, their attributions were strikingly different. American students typically explained the fish's behavior in terms of its individual characteristics. That fish is a leader, or it's independent. Chinese students, however, were more likely to consider external factors. It's being chased, or something ahead is attracting it. Research published in the Journal of Cross-Cultural Psychology reveals that while Americans tend to attribute workplace success primarily to individual talent and effort, many East Asian cultures place greater emphasis on contextual factors like team support and organizational resources. In today's globalized workplace, these attribution patterns collide daily. When a manager from an individualistic culture evaluates an employee from a collectivistic one, their different attribution styles can lead to serious misunderstandings. For instance, what an American manager might see as a lack of initiative, a Japanese employee might view as appropriate deference to team harmony. Studies show that attribution patterns significantly influence leadership styles and organizational culture. In individualistic cultures, leadership styles emphasize autonomy and individual achievement, while collectivistic cultures prioritize group harmony and consensus building. Take the case of cross-cultural knowledge transfer within multinational corporations. Research shows that subsidiaries in different countries employ distinctly different techniques to integrate corporate knowledge, reflecting their unique cultural contexts. A Swedish subsidiary might emphasize individual innovation, while a Romanian one might focus more on collaborative adaptation. What makes this particularly challenging is that our attribution styles tend to be deeply ingrained. They're not just thoughts we have, they're mental frameworks shaped by our cultural upbringing. As Warren Buffett famously said, "What the human being is best at doing is interpreting all new information so that their prior conclusions remain intact." But here's the silver lining. Understanding these differences is the first step toward bridging them. When we recognize that our attribution style is just one way of interpreting reality, not reality itself, we can start to see situations from multiple perspectives. This mental flexibility isn't just good for cross-cultural understanding. It's becoming essential for success in our increasingly interconnected world. As we move forward, keep this basic model in mind. Internal versus external attribution, filtered through the lens of cultural perspective. Let's examine a classic self-made entrepreneur story, the kind that dominates business magazines and TED Talks. On the surface, it follows a familiar pattern. Ambitious individual starts with nothing, works relentlessly, and builds a successful company through sheer determination and skill. Research published in the Journal of Psychology reveals that entrepreneurs themselves show intriguing patterns in how they explain their success. While 60% of small business owners say they started their business to pursue their passion, the way they attribute their success tells a more complex story. Consider this. When entrepreneurs succeed, they typically point to internal factors: their vision, determination, and decision-making. When they face setbacks, they're more likely to cite external factors like market conditions or regulatory challenges. This isn't necessarily dishonesty. It's a well-documented phenomenon called self-serving bias. where we instinctively protect our self-image through our attributions. But here's where it gets really interesting. The same success story looks remarkably different depending on who's doing the attributing. When outside observers examine entrepreneurial success, they tend to focus on different factors entirely. This is the actor-observer bias in action. A 2023 study of successful tech startups found a striking pattern. The founders primarily attributed their success to their strategic vision and execution, internal factors. However, industry analysts examining the same companies emphasized market timing, available venture capital, and technological trends, external factors. Both perspectives contain truth, but neither tells the complete story. Research from Harvard Business School shows that how entrepreneurs attribute their success influences their future decision-making. Those who primarily attribute success to internal factors tend to be more confident in their abilities, but may also be more resistant to adapting their strategies when market conditions change. Studies comparing entrepreneurs across different cultures reveal fascinating patterns. According to research published in the Journal of Business Ethics, entrepreneurs in individualistic cultures, like the United States, are more likely to attribute their success to personal characteristics, while those in collectivistic cultures often emphasize the role of relationships, mentors, and support networks. But perhaps the most interesting finding comes from a longitudinal study of over 1,000 entrepreneurs. The most successful ones, those who built sustainable, growing businesses, showed a more balanced attribution style. They recognized both internal and external factors in their success, demonstrating what psychologists call attributional complexity. This ability to maintain multiple attribution perspectives might be crucial for long-term success. As Warren Buffett once noted, "It's good to learn from your mistakes. It's better to learn from other people's mistakes." This wisdom suggests that understanding different attribution patterns can help us make better decisions. The implications extend beyond entrepreneurship. In corporate settings, attribution patterns significantly influence career advancement. Studies show that individuals who can appropriately balance internal and external attributions tend to be more resilient in the face of setbacks and more effective in leadership roles. Consider this striking statistic from McKinsey's 2023 State of AI report. 63% of organizations have adopted AI in at least one business function. Yet when these implementations succeed or fail, the attribution patterns reveal our biases. Success is often attributed to leadership vision, while failures are blamed on technological limitations. A classic example of self-serving bias at the organizational level. What makes this particularly relevant today is how these attribution patterns interact with rapid technological change. In an era where success increasingly depends on both individual capability and systemic factors, maintaining accurate attribution patterns becomes crucial for adaptive decision-making. The lesson here isn't that one attribution style is superior, but rather that understanding these patterns can help us make better decisions and build more resilient organizations. As we navigate an increasingly complex business landscape, the ability to recognize and balance different attribution perspectives might be as important as any traditional business skill. When a team succeeds, who gets the credit? When it fails, where does the blame fall? These seemingly simple questions reveal fascinating patterns about how attribution theory operates in group settings, and sometimes breaks down entirely. Research indicates that in corporate settings, attribution-related misunderstandings contribute significantly to workplace conflicts. While the exact percentage isn't quantified, studies show that these misattributions create environments where team members feel trapped, leading to high turnover rates and decreased productivity. Consider this common scenario. A project team delivers exceptional results. The team leader attributes the success to their effective leadership and strategic direction, internal attribution. Meanwhile, team members attribute it to their hard work and collaboration, also internal but different. Both sides engage in what psychologists call self-serving bias, but at a group level. Now flip the scenario. The same team fails to meet its objectives. Suddenly, the attribution patterns shift dramatically. Research published in the Journal of Applied Psychology shows that leaders often attribute failure to team members' lack of effort or capability, internal to others, while team members blame inadequate resources or unrealistic deadlines, external factors. Studies of high-performing sports teams reveal a consistent pattern. Teams attribute their successes to internal factors, like massive team effort, and their failures to external factors like bad luck or refereeing decisions. However, when observing rival teams, these attributions flip completely. Research on attribution patterns in multinational corporations shows that these biases can be particularly problematic in diverse teams. For instance, when managers from individualistic cultures evaluate employees from collectivistic cultures, their different attribution styles can lead to serious misunderstandings about performance and contribution. The impact on team performance is significant. A study examining self-serving bias in corporate settings found that when managers respond to criticism with defensive attributions, team members become afraid to speak up. This creates a cascade effect. Reduced communication leads to poorer performance, which triggers more defensive attributions, creating a destructive cycle. Recent research on high-performing teams has identified several strategies for breaking this cycle: attribution training, structured feedback, and cultural integration. The most successful teams, according to research, are those that develop what psychologists call attribution flexibility, the ability to consider multiple perspectives when evaluating success and failure. For instance, a study of technology teams found that those who could balance internal and external attributions were more innovative and resilient. McKinsey's 2023 State of AI report provides an interesting modern context. As 63% of organizations adopt AI in their operations, new attribution challenges emerge. When AI-human teams succeed or fail, how do we attribute the outcomes? The implications for modern workplaces are profound. In an era of increasing workplace diversity and technological integration, understanding and managing attribution patterns becomes crucial for team success. As Dr. Sarah Chen noted in her 2022 research published in the Journal of Psychology, the ability to navigate different attribution styles may be as important as traditional management skills in today's diverse workplaces. These groups share a common characteristic. They've learned to treat attribution not as a fixed reality, but as a tool for understanding and improvement. They use attribution patterns diagnostically rather than judgmentally, helping them identify areas for improvement while maintaining team cohesion. The lesson is clear. In group settings, attribution theory isn't just about understanding how we assign credit and blame. It's about creating environments where different attribution styles can coexist productively. As our workplaces become more diverse and technologically integrated, this understanding becomes increasingly crucial for team success. Now let's push attribution theory to its breaking point by examining how it handles, or fails to handle, complex global systems. And there's no better stress test than the COVID-19 pandemic response. When Italy became Europe's first major COVID hotspot in early 2020, initial attributions were simple and direct. Blame focused on specific policies, individual behaviors, or particular leaders. But as the virus spread globally, these straightforward attributions began to crumble under the weight of complexity. Consider this puzzle. Two countries implement nearly identical policies, yet experience radically different outcomes. Traditional attribution theory, with its focus on internal versus external causes, suddenly seems inadequate. We're facing what systems theorists call multiple causation, where outcomes emerge from the interaction of countless variables, making simple attributions not just incorrect, but potentially dangerous. So how do we actually apply these insights in our daily lives? Let's build a practical framework for more balanced attribution that works in both professional and personal contexts. Studies show that individuals with balanced attribution styles demonstrate greater resilience in facing adversity and achieve better professional outcomes. For instance, research on high-performing sales professionals found that those with adaptive attribution styles were significantly more likely to maintain employment and exceed targets over a 12-month period. The three-factor analysis. Internal factors. What did we contribute? External factors. What situational elements were involved? Systemic factors. What larger patterns or systems influenced the outcome? For example, instead of simply attributing a successful presentation to either your skills, internal, or luck, external, you might consider your preparation and delivery, the audience's engagement and time of day, and the organizational culture and existing relationship with the audience. Research shows that our first attribution instinct is often biased. Implementing a deliberate pause before making attributions can lead to more accurate assessments. As Dr. Sarah Chen noted in her 2022 research published in the Journal of Psychology, the quality of our attributions often improves significantly with even a brief period of reflection. Given that attribution patterns vary significantly across cultures, ask yourself, how might someone from a different cultural background interpret this situation? What assumptions am I making based on my cultural framework? Keep a simple attribution journal where you record the event or outcome, your initial attribution, alternative explanations, and final, balanced attribution after reflection. When making an attribution, deliberately flip perspectives. If you're attributing to internal factors, Force yourself to list external ones. If focusing on external factors, identify potential internal contributions. For complex situations, ask, what larger systems are at play? How do different factors interact? What delayed effects might we need to consider? According to McKinsey's 2023 State of AI report, organizations that implement structured attribution analysis show better decision-making outcomes. Use structured attribution templates that consider multiple factors, implement peer review to catch attribution biases, and consider cultural differences in self-evaluation styles. Take a week to monitor your attribution patterns, record significant events, successes, and setbacks, note your immediate attribution, apply the 3-factor analysis, and review patterns after 1 week. Research shows that this kind of structured self-reflection can significantly improve attribution accuracy. A study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that individuals who regularly analyzed their attribution patterns showed improved decision-making and greater professional success over time. The real power of this framework lies in its flexibility. Whether you're analyzing a failed project, celebrating a team success, or evaluating your own performance, the same principles apply. By developing more sophisticated attribution patterns, we not only make better decisions, but also build more resilient professional and personal lives. Think about your last major success and your last significant setback. How different were your attribution patterns in each case? Were you consistent in how you assigned cause and effect? Or did you unconsciously shift your attribution style to protect your self-image? Consider a situation where someone let you down recently. Did you immediately jump to conclusions about their character? Or did you consider situational factors? What might this reveal about your own attribution biases? In your workplace or academic environment, how do different cultural backgrounds influence the way people explain successes and failures? How might this awareness help you build stronger relationships across cultural boundaries? When examining complex global challenges like climate change or economic inequality, how might our natural tendency towards simple attributions limit our understanding and potential solutions? How could your understanding of attribution patterns help you become more resilient in the face of future challenges? These questions aren't just theoretical exercises. They're tools for developing more sophisticated thinking about cause and effect in our increasingly complex world. As you consider them, remember that the goal isn't to eliminate attribution biases. That's probably impossible. But to become more aware of how they shape our understanding of the world and our place in it. What patterns will you notice in your own attributions tomorrow?